isn't quite as epic, but I wanted to get y'all hyped for Utah. I felt like it needed a proper introduction. I wanted to give it the introduction I felt like it deserved. My name is Kala. This is my channel. I don't know if I should say welcome back to my channel. It feels a little bit awkward. It feels like a little bit too much for me. But I did want to put a face to a name on my channel. I want to start making more content, possibly. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I've really enjoyed making these videos, the travel vlogs, camping vlogs, hiking vlogs, and I'm just so humbled by all the positive feedback I've gotten from my friends and coworkers and everyone that's watched and given me feedback. It means so much, and it really pushes me to want to do more. Yes, so this marks the second annual road trip that me and my brother did. Last year we did Washington. This year we did Utah. We wanted to hit some national parks, and we ended up doing Zion, Bryce, and Capitol Reef. We also visited the main point of the trip was to visit our family friend Carson, who I've known since birth, so shout out Carson. Thank you so much for having us, and of course your roommates for letting us stay there, and your lovely girlfriend Savannah for showing us around and doing all that stuff with us. We had so much fun. I hope this will inspire people to go out to Utah, see a little bit of the sights. It's a diary for me, of course, to look back, but I also hope that people will watch it and want to go just as much as I did, because it's freaking awesome. Yeah, Utah was amazing. So without further ado, let me show off my little Bryce Canyon shirt. I don't think you can see it very well. Can you see it? Hopefully. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the vlog. One of the first things we did when we got to Utah was visit the Natural History Museum in Salt Lake. It was super awesome. Honestly, mind-blowing. I think I had an expectation of what natural history museums are, like ones I've been into in the past, and I'm not exaggerating when I said this surpassed all of my expectations. We only spent a couple hours there, but honestly I could have spent all day there. Egypt was the featured exhibit, but there was so many cool exhibits there. If you know me, you know I can't resist a good quote. Look out for the English nerd bit. And there is beautiful Salt Lake City. I wish I had more footage of Salt Lake, but we were having so much fun. I didn't catch everything. There were a bunch of small businesses like this, just totally one-off, selling like maybe one or two things, which I really liked. They were kind of just tucked anywhere. And here we are on the way to Zion National Park. We woke up at about 4 a.m. to hit the Narrows, which has been on my bucket list for basically forever. Something to keep in mind, I'm not sure if it's all year round or just in the summer, but you do have to shuttle to the main sight points. You can't just drive through. I'm gonna try my best not to talk through the entire feature of the Narrows, but you know, I feel like the scenery speaks for itself. But I will say, you know, make sure you're properly outfitted. Make sure you're checking the flash floods and the conditions before you go out there. During the summer, there are flash floods. But we were just all remarking the whole time. It was so much fun. We felt like we were kids in a candy shop or on some kind of Indiana Jones adventure. It just felt like it was supposed to be fun, but it even felt more fun than it was supposed to be. We were just like laughing and being ridiculous the whole time. It was very hot out there, so it was very refreshing to hike through the water, and we made sure that we were covered up. But the water's perfect that time of year. Thanks, Bryce. That is a famous formation in Zion called the Watchman. We got a monsoon, a big storm that night. It was about 90 degrees, but it was also like 100% humidity, so not the most comfortable conditions, but when we started to explore the next morning on our way out, it was so nice. This is effectively the backside of Zion. This is what it looked like when we were leaving the park and heading to Bryce. I don't think anything prepares you for seeing the hoodoos for the first time. They're just like nothing else I've ever seen in my life. Of course, you know we had to have the bomb-ass sandwiches. Undoubtedly. We learned that the hoodoos actually form from the freeze cycle, like the water continuously freezing and thawing, and then the erosion that causes in the rock creates the hoodoos that you see. This is still Bryce, by the way. I didn't realize that it is up in elevation a little bit. It has foresty, it has green, so I think that's why it made it my favorite park out of the 3. I loved so many different parts about each park, but the red rocks are just especially red here. The hoodoos, the diversity of the landscape, it was just... Oh, and the pronghorns. We saw some pronghorns, which was super exciting.
Yeah, dude.
I think this shot is a really good example of the way that light affects the hoodoos. What I mean by that is you can go to the same spot, you know, 3-4 different times in a day and it'll look completely different because the shadows are so prominent on the hoodoos and it completely changes the way it looks. It's super interesting. At least I found it to be very interesting. And here's our friend, a little prairie dog, a Utah prairie dog, actually. I didn't know Utah had prairie dogs, by the way, but it was a very nice surprise. Look how cute. How can you not love him? Or her, I guess. And there's their house in the meadow. This was when we were leaving Bryce. We visited a place called the Mossy Caves. It's a very popular hike in the area. This is the Mossy Cave. I thought it was a little bit overhyped, to be quite honest. It's just a shelf with some moss, but still a really nice, short, easy hike. The piece de resistance was the waterfall. Here we are back in the Salt Lake area. After we did the national parks, we came back to Salt Lake to spend a little bit more time with Carson and his girlfriend. They were nice enough to show Parker and I around this area, which, after being around the Red Rocks, it was almost jarring in a good way to see all the green.
Nice. Yeah, so there's a bunch of entrances to it. You just won't be able to see any of them. Of course. That's how beavers roll.
The fact that we were in Silver Lake and then in Antelope Island State Park in the same day is crazy to me. Like, look at the difference. It's amazing how you can just drive a little ways in Utah and see things that are completely different. I honestly think that was my favorite part of the trip, was just getting such a variety in such a short amount of time. Also, it's always been a dream of mine to see free-roaming bison, quote-unquote, like, in the wild. These guys are monitored there, but they do get to roam, and so that was just my favorite, you know. I keep saying it's my favorite, that's my favorite, this is my favorite, but it was such a highlight of the trip, seriously. They're such majestic creatures. Oh my god, it's so cute. Oh my god.
Look at the little baby. See that one is shedding? His winter coat. It's got...
We even caught this guy scratching his back on the stop sign. After that, Parker and I broke off, left Carson in Salt Lake and headed down to Capitol Reef. And we stayed the night in the Aquarius Inn. And that night and next morning went out to Capitol Reef. This was the orchards that they have there, which you can just go and pick fruit for free, whatever is there, whatever's in season. It was really fun. I got a kick out of it for sure. The lighting isn't even going to begin to do it justice. I had really bad luck with lighting this trip between like the stormy, overcast monsoon lighting and then like the super harsh lighting of the daytime sun. Maybe I should have woken up earlier, but you know, even so, you can see the scale. The scale is on par with Zion and Bryce, in my opinion, and you don't get the crowds at Capitol Reef, so that was such an added bonus. This hike was called Capitol Gorge. You can see these things called the tanks at the very end of it, which are the natural water reserves in the area. You can also see petroglyphs along the way like these. And the Mormon settlers carved their names into the rock as well on their passage. Something that struck me the most about Capitol Reef in comparison to the other parks was the diversity of the geology, like of the rock structures. Every time you turn a corner, you're gonna see something that's completely different than what you just saw. The red rocks are always going to be otherworldly, but at Capitol Reef, I felt the most that I was on another planet. And that was effectively the end of our trip. We did spend a night in Vegas, which was super fun, but didn't take any footage. Not for mischievous reasons, just didn't think it was worth showing.
You did it!